it took me a long time to get up the courage, I guess, to make this video because it's really, really hard for me to talk about, and it's hard for me to put words to my feelings. But the thing I want to talk about is my dad's illness. You may or may not know that he has an illness called polymyositis, along with something that is in the family of Parkinson's, although we're not sure exactly what that is. He was diagnosed when I was at my first college, and he's been on constant oxygen for, I want to say, almost 3 years now. I'm not sure on the exact number, but it's been a lot. And it, growing up, my dad was always like a really strong guy and a really like active person. He always gardened. He always went to see his friends, and my dad taught for most of my life, taught theater. And I remember several things happening in my life that were like, like, I'm sure everybody can think of a time when they realized that like their parents weren't infallible, and they like, they might one day not be as strong as you are. And I remember a time when my dad was moving a couch in our basement, and the force of moving the couch separated his bicep from where it attaches, and I can't tell you where that is. I have no idea what the terminology is, but I just remember seeing him weak in that moment, and that was sort of like the first time that I realized, like, oh, my dad's not, like, immortal. So when he started having all these problems, it was like, it's like, it's really weird seeing your parent not, the strongest person that you know. My dad was always the absolute strongest person, so that's been really weird. But through this whole thing, I guess the thing that's hardest for me is like the unknown, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and you don't know, what the timeline is for things. I know that he's doing much better now than he was doing when he was first diagnosed, because different drugs have really really helped him a lot. But I also know that the main drug that helped him, we are absolutely fighting to get right now, because it's not an FDA approved treatment. So we can pay $66,000 for this drug that will really help him, but we don't have $66,000 lying around. So then the fight becomes, how do we proceed from there? What do we do to help him, to keep him at least here, and from going down? So that's like I guess the hardest thing that I deal with in my life, is just the unknown of what's going to happen next with it. And I get pretty upset about it, because obviously, like, I expect that my parents are going to live into their, their 80s. So I'd like to think that that's still going to be true. I'd like to think that my parents are going to be around for all the major events in my life and be there, when I someday get married and have kids and all that. And the scary thing is realizing that might not be true. And I could just, wallow in self-pity and feel really upset all the time about it. But that doesn't really do any good. That doesn't do my dad any good. That doesn't make him better. And it certainly doesn't make me feel good. So I think from the standpoint of somebody who's in the support system of someone with chronic illness, the best thing that you can do is stay positive and be there for them. And call them when you get the chance. I don't call my dad often enough, but I know I'm going to see him in a week. So, you know, the hardest thing is realizing that there are a lot of people out there who are in pain. And when you deal with people on the internet, it's so, you know, you're just dealing with their words. You're not seeing their face. You're not, you know, you don't know their whole backstory. And there may be people around you who are in pain and you just don't know it.